They called her the piano freak, the girl who practiced on a keyboard drawn on cardboard because her family couldn't afford the real thing, the one they mocked, humiliated, and made sure knew she'd never amount to anything. They invited her to their 10-year high school reunion with one purpose: to remind her she was still a loser in their eyes. But when Maya Johnson stepped out of that limousine holding a Grammy Award in her hands, the entire room fell silent. What happened in those 10 years? How did the girl they tormented become one of the most celebrated classical pianists in the world? This is her story. And trust me, you won't believe how it unfolds. Maya Johnson grew up in the kind of poverty that doesn't just take away material things, it takes away dreams. Her mother, Patricia, worked 3 jobs, cleaning offices at night, serving breakfast at a diner at dawn, and doing laundry for wealthier families in the afternoon. They lived in a cramped 1-bedroom apartment on the south side of Detroit, where the walls were thin, and the heating barely worked in winter. Maya was 8 years old when she first heard piano music. It wasn't at a concert hall or even on television. It was through the wall of their apartment, coming from the music teacher next door, who gave lessons to children whose parents could afford $50 an hour. Maya would press her ear against the cold wall every Tuesday and Thursday evening, listening to scales, arpeggios, and eventually beautiful melodies that made her heart ache with longing. She begged her mother for piano lessons. Patricia's eyes filled with tears as she explained they could barely afford food, let alone music lessons or an instrument. But Maya's determination couldn't be crushed that easily. She found a picture of a piano keyboard in a library book, traced it onto cardboard, and created her own practice keyboard. Every day after school, she would sit at their tiny kitchen table, pressing silent keys on cardboard, her fingers moving to the music she heard in her head. Her mother worked such long hours that she rarely saw Maya's dedication. But when she did, it broke her heart. Patricia knew her daughter had a gift, a burning passion that deserved to be nurtured. Yet all she could offer were words of encouragement and the promise that someday, somehow, things would be better. They never were, at least not during Maya's childhood. When Maya entered Lincoln High School, she thought maybe things would change. Maybe she'd find people who understood her passion, who wouldn't judge her for wearing the same 3 outfits on rotation, or for bringing lunch in a worn paper bag. She was wrong. Lincoln High was a school of stark divisions. The wealthy kids, the ones whose parents were doctors, lawyers, and business owners, ruled the social hierarchy. At the top of that pyramid sat Jessica Van Der Berg, a blonde-haired, blue-eyed girl whose father owned half the commercial real estate in Detroit. Jessica had everything: designer clothes, a new BMW for her 16th birthday, and a posse of friends who hung on her every word. Maya had nothing. Nothing except her cardboard keyboard and her dreams. The bullying started on the first day of freshman year. Maya had been sitting alone in the cafeteria, quietly eating a peanut butter sandwich when Jessica and her friends walked by. One of them noticed the cardboard keyboard sticking out of Maya's backpack. "Oh my God! What is that?" Jessica's friend, Brittany, shrieked with laughter. Maya tried to shove it back into her bag, but Jessica grabbed it first. She held it up for the entire cafeteria to see. "Everyone look, Maya has a pretend piano. How pathetic is that?" The laughter was instant and cruel. Students at nearby tables turned to look, pointing and snickering. Maya felt her face burn with humiliation as Jessica mocked her, pretending to play the cardboard keyboard with exaggerated, ridiculous movements. "I'm Mozart," Jessica sang out mockingly. "Look at me. I'm so talented I can play air piano." The cardboard was eventually thrown in the trash. Maya retrieved it later, alone in the bathroom, tears streaming down her face as she carefully flattened out the crumpled paper. But that was just the beginning. Over the next 4 years, Jessica made Maya's life a living nightmare. She spread rumors that Maya smelled because she couldn't afford clean clothes. She organized a charity drive that was really just an excuse to publicly collect donations for poor Maya. She convinced other students to exclude Maya from group projects, ensuring she'd have to do all the work alone. The worst incident happened junior year. The school had an old, out-of-tune piano in the cafeteria left over from some forgotten talent show. Maya would sometimes sit at it during lunch playing quietly when she thought no one was watching. Her fingers would fly across the keys, playing from memory the classical pieces she'd heard through the wall years ago, pieces she'd practiced on her cardboard keyboard thousands of times. She was actually good, better than good. She was extraordinary. One day, Jessica noticed. Instead of mocking her, she had a different idea. She organized a talent show during lunch, insisting that Maya perform for everyone. Maya, desperate for any recognition of her talent, agreed. She played Chopin's Nocturne in E-flat major, pouring her heart into every note. For 3 minutes, the cafeteria was silent. Maya closed her eyes, lost in the music, finally feeling like maybe, just maybe, people would see her differently. When she finished, there was a moment of silence. Then Jessica started a slow clap, dripping with sarcasm. "Wow, Maya, that was so tragic, just like your life." The cafeteria erupted in laughter. Someone had filmed it on their phone. By the end of the day, the video was all over social media with cruel captions, "Piano freak thinks she's special," and "When you can't afford real talent." Maya never played in public at school again, but there was one person who saw through the humiliation to the raw talent underneath. Mr. Harold Peterson was Lincoln High's music teacher, a 72-year-old man who'd spent 50 years teaching music to teenagers who mostly didn't care. He was planning to retire at the end of Maya's sophomore year. Then, he heard her play. It was after school, late on a Thursday afternoon. Maya thought the building was empty. She'd snuck into the music room and sat at the good piano, the one Mr. Peterson kept locked and reserved for serious students. She'd learned to pick the simple lock months ago. She was playing Rachmaninoff's Piano Concerto No. 2, one of the most technically demanding pieces in the classical repertoire. She was playing it from memory, and she was playing it beautifully. Mr. Peterson stood in the doorway, shocked into silence. He'd been teaching music for 5 decades and had never encountered raw talent like this. This girl, this poor, bullied, lonely girl, had the gift that teachers dream of finding. When Maya finished, her hands trembling on the keys, she heard clapping. She spun around, terrified she'd be expelled for breaking into the music room. Instead, she found Mr. Peterson with tears in his eyes. "How long have you been playing?" he asked quietly. I've never actually played before. I mean, not on a real piano. I practice on cardboard." Mr. Peterson sat down beside her on the piano bench. "Young lady, you have more natural talent than any student I've encountered in my entire career, and I've taught a lot of students." That conversation changed Maya's life. Mr. Peterson made a deal with her. He would delay his retirement and teach her privately after school for free. In exchange, she had to promise him that she would never give up on her gift. No matter how hard life got, no matter how cruel people were, she had to keep playing. For the next 2.5 years, Maya spent every afternoon in that music room. While Jessica and her friends were at cheerleading practice or shopping at the mall, Maya was practicing scales, arpeggios, and the great classical masterpieces. Her fingers developed calluses. Her back ached from hours at the bench. But she was finally truly playing piano. Mr. Peterson pushed her relentlessly. He made her play passages hundreds of times until they were perfect. He taught her music theory history and the emotional depth behind every piece. He helped her understand that technical perfection wasn't enough. She had to make people feel something when she played. And she did. Oh, how she did. But Maya kept it all secret. She never told anyone about her lessons with Mr. Peterson. She never mentioned that she was preparing for auditions at the best music schools in the country. She let Jessica and everyone else believe she was still just the poor, pathetic girl with the cardboard piano. Sometimes late at night, Maya would dream about the future. She'd dream about concert halls filled with people who came to hear her play, not to mock her. She'd dream about Carnegie Hall, about wearing a beautiful gown, about being respected for her talent. But those dreams seemed as impossible as her cardboard keyboard becoming real. High school graduation came. Maya gave the valedictory speech because her grades were perfect. Jessica and her friends rolled their eyes and whispered throughout the entire thing. At the graduation party afterward, which Maya didn't attend, Jessica told everyone that Maya would probably end up cleaning houses like her mother. The words got back to Maya. They hurt. But by then, she had a secret that made the pain bearable. She'd been accepted to Juilliard with a full scholarship. 10 years later, Maya Johnson was not cleaning houses. She was standing on the stage of the Berlin Philharmonic Hall, taking her fifth bow of the evening, as 3,000 people gave her a standing ovation. Her performance of Prokofiev's Piano Concerto No. 3 had been transcendent, the kind of performance that music critics would write about for years to come. Backstage, her manager Robert was fielding calls from venues around the world wanting to book her. Her debut album, Rising from Silence, had just won the Grammy Award for Best Classical Instrumental Solo Album. At 28 years old, Maya Johnson was at the absolute peak of her career. She was the story people loved, the girl from poverty who made it to the top through pure talent and determination. Magazines profiled her. Morning shows interviewed her. Young pianists around the world watched her videos and dreamed of playing like her. But despite all the success, all the accolades and applause, Maya carried her past with her, like a weight she couldn't set down. The memories of humiliation of being called piano freak of that video of her playing in the cafeteria while everyone laughed still haunted her. She'd been in therapy for 3 years, working through the trauma of those high school years. Her therapist kept telling her the same thing. You need closure. You need to confront your past, not run from it. Maya always changed the subject. It was a Tuesday morning in May when the email arrived. Maya was in her Manhattan apartment, a beautiful 2-bedroom place overlooking Central Park that she'd purchased with her Grammy earnings. She was drinking coffee and reviewing sheet music for her upcoming Carnegie Hall residency when her phone chimed. The subject line read, Lincoln High Class of 2015, 10-year reunion. Maya's hand froze on her coffee cup. 10 years. Had it really been 10 years? She opened the email with trembling fingers. Dear Maya, can you believe it's been 10 years since we walked across that graduation stage? The reunion committee is organizing a special event to bring everyone back together on June 15th at the Waterfront Pavilion. We'd love to see you there. It would mean so much to everyone to catch up and see what you've been up to. Please RSVP by June 1st. Hope to see you there. Best, the reunion committee. Maya stared at the email for a long time. The reunion committee. She wondered who was on it. She wondered if Jessica was involved. Actually, she didn't have to wonder. Of course, Jessica was involved. Jessica always needed to be at the center of everything. Maya's first instinct was to delete the email and forget about it. Why would she want to go back to a place filled with people who'd made her miserable? Why would she subject herself to seeing Jessica again? But then she thought about what her therapist had said, about closure, about confronting the past. And she thought about something else, too. Something less noble, perhaps, but very human. She thought about walking into that reunion and showing every single person who'd looked down on her exactly how wrong they'd been. Maya Johnson had a Grammy Award sitting on her piano. She had the respect of the entire classical music world. She had money, fame, and a career most musicians could only dream of. Maybe it was time to go home. She clicked reply and typed a single word, yes. What Maya didn't know was that the reunion committee consisted of exactly 3 people: Jessica Van Der Berg, Brittany Morrison, and Chelsea Wright. The same 3 girls who'd made her life hell in high school. And Maya Johnson wasn't invited to be welcomed. She was invited to be humiliated one last time. Jessica was sitting in her father's estate, the same mansion she'd grown up in when Maya's RSVP came through. She squealed with delight and immediately called Brittany on FaceTime. She said, yes, Maya's actually coming. Brittany's face appeared on the screen, her eyes lighting up. Oh my God, this is going to be perfect. Did you finish the surprise? Jessica panned her phone camera to show a large package sitting on her dining room table. Inside was a giant cardboard keyboard, exactly like the ones Maya used to practice on, but bigger and more elaborate. On top of it, written in glittery letters, were the words, "For Maya, keep dreaming big." We're going to present this to her in front of everyone, Jessica explained, her voice giddy with malice. Like it's a thoughtful gift, you know? We'll make this big speech about, remember when Maya used to play on cardboard? We thought she'd appreciate this memento. And everyone will laugh. It'll be perfect. Chelsea's voice came through the speaker. And I'm going to record the whole thing. We'll post it on TikTok. It'll go viral. The 3 women laughed the same cruel laugh they'd perfected back in high school. Jessica leaned back in her chair, sipping expensive wine. I looked her up on Facebook, you know. Her profile is completely empty. No posts, no photos, nothing. She's probably exactly where we left her, broke, pathetic, still playing pretend piano. Do you think she'll even be able to afford decent clothes for the reunion? Brittany asked. Probably not, Jessica said, which makes this even better. She'll show up in some thrift store dress. We'll present her with the cardboard piano. Everyone will remember what a loser she was, and we'll all have a good laugh. Just like old times. What Jessica didn't do, because she was too busy planning her elaborate humiliation scheme, was Google Maya Johnson's name. If she had, she would have found thousands of results. Grammy winner, Maya Johnson. Maya Johnson sells out Carnegie Hall. Rising star. Maya Johnson praised by critics. But Jessica didn't Google. She assumed. She assumed that 10 years wouldn't have changed anything, that Maya would still be the same poor, pathetic girl they'd tormented. She couldn't have been more wrong. Over the next 2 weeks, Jessica refined her plan. She rented the Waterfront Pavilion, a fancy venue overlooking the Detroit River. She sent invitations to everyone from their graduating class. She made sure there would be a microphone and a stage area where she could make her presentation to Maya in front of everyone. She even wrote out a speech practicing it in front of her mirror. Everyone. We have a very special moment planned. Many of you remember Maya Johnson, our class's most dedicated pianist. Pause for laughs. Maya used to practice on a cardboard piano because she loved music so much. We were so inspired by her creativity that we wanted to honor her tonight with this very special gift, her very own cardboard piano. Maya, this is for you. Never stop dreaming. Jessica imagined the laughter, the cameras, the viral video. She imagined Maya's face crumbling with humiliation, just like it had in high school. It was going to be glorious. She told her friends, this reunion is going to be legendary. Everyone will be talking about it for years. She was right about that, just not in the way she imagined. The summer after high school graduation, Maya worked 2 jobs, serving coffee at a cafe during the day and cleaning offices at night, just like her mother used to do. She saved every penny for New York City, for Juilliard, for the life that awaited her. When September came, and she boarded the Greyhound bus to New York with a single suitcase and $200 in her pocket. Her mother stood at the station with tears streaming down her face. "You're going to be great, baby," Patricia whispered, holding her daughter tight. "You're going to show them all." Maya had never been to New York City. When the bus pulled into Port Authority and she stepped out into the chaos of Manhattan, she was terrified. The city was massive, loud, and overwhelming. She took the subway to Lincoln Center, standing outside the Juilliard School with her worn suitcase, barely believing this was real. Her dorm room was tiny, shared with a roommate named Sophie, whose parents were both symphony musicians. Sophie had grown up taking private lessons, attending summer music camps in Europe, playing in youth orchestras. She'd been groomed for Juilliard since she was 5 years old. When Sophie asked about Maya's background, Maya told her the truth. "I practiced on cardboard until I was 15. Sophie laughed, thinking it was a joke. When she realized Maya was serious, the laughter stopped. "Wait, you're serious? And you got into Juilliard full scholarship?" Maya said quietly. Sophie's respect was instant. "Holy shit, you must be incredible." The first few months at Juilliard were the hardest of Maya's life. She was surrounded by prodigies, by students who'd been playing piano since they could walk, who'd performed in concert halls around the world before they turned 12. These students had every advantage: the best teachers, the best instruments, wealthy parents who supported their dreams. Maya had cardboard and determination. She quickly realized that raw talent wasn't enough at Juilliard. Everyone here was talented. What separated the good from the great was work ethic. So Maya worked harder than anyone else. While other students socialized or explored the city, Maya was in the practice rooms. She'd wake up at 5 in the morning and practice until her first class at 9. After classes ended at 4, she'd practice until midnight, 12 to 14 hours a day at the piano. Every single day. Her hands developed blisters that became calluses. Her back ached constantly. She dreamed about piano keys at night. Some of her classmates called her obsessed. Her teachers called her dedicated. But there was a problem. Juilliard's full scholarship covered tuition, but Maya still needed money for food rent and basic necessities. So she got a job working nights at a 24-hour diner in Hell's Kitchen, serving drunk tourists and night shift workers from 11 p.m. to 4 a.m. 3 nights a week. She'd finish her shift at 4 in the morning, sleep for 1 hour in the diner's back booth, then go straight to Juilliard for her 5 a.m. practice session. On those days, she ran on pure caffeine and determination. Sophie would find her sometimes asleep at the piano, her head resting on the keys, her body finally giving out after being pushed too hard for too long. "Maya, you're going to kill yourself," Sophie said more than once. "I can't afford to be average," Maya always replied. "Average doesn't make it out of poverty." In her second year at Juilliard, Maya entered her first major competition, the Young Concert Artists International Auditions. It was a prestigious competition that could launch a career. Winners got management representation and concert bookings. Maya prepared for months, choosing Rachmaninoff's Piano Concerto No. 3, the same piece she'd taught herself in high school, with Mr. Peterson now refined and perfected with Juilliard's resources. The competition was held at Carnegie Hall. Maya stood backstage, surrounded by competitors who looked confident and polished in their expensive concert wear. Maya wore a simple black dress she'd bought at a thrift store for $15. When her turn came, she walked onto that legendary stage, sat at the Steinway grand piano, and let everything else disappear. The poverty, the bullying, the exhaustion. It all faded away. There was only the music. She played like her life depended on it. Because in many ways, it did. When she finished, the silence that followed lasted 3 heartbeats. Then the applause started. Standing ovation. The judges were on their feet. Maya won first place. That victory changed everything. Suddenly she had management bookings and opportunities. But success in classical music doesn't happen overnight. She spent the next 2 years playing small venues, building her reputation one concert at a time. She played in church basements and community centers. She played at weddings and corporate events. She took every gig she could get, slowly building her name. The breakthrough came in her 4th year at Juilliard, when she was selected to compete in the International Chopin Piano Competition in Warsaw, Poland, one of the most prestigious piano competitions in the world. It's held only once every 5 years, and winning it is like winning the Olympics of piano. Maya had never been on an airplane before. She'd never left the United States. The idea of going to Poland to compete against the best young pianists from around the world terrified her. But she went. The competition lasted 2 weeks. Maya advanced through each round, her performances growing stronger and more confident. By the final round, only 3 competitors remained. Maya, a pianist from South Korea, who'd been training since age 3, and a Russian prodigy, whose grandfather was a famous composer. The final round required performing a complete piano concerto with the Warsaw Philharmonic Orchestra. Maya chose Chopin's Piano Concerto No. 1 in E minor, a piece that demanded both technical brilliance and deep emotional sensitivity. She played it perfectly. When the results were announced, Maya Johnson won 2nd place. Not first, but 2nd place in one of the world's most prestigious piano competitions was extraordinary. It was enough to launch a serious international career. The classical music world took notice. This young African-American woman from Detroit, who'd practiced on cardboard as a child, had just proven herself among the best pianists in the world. After the Chopin competition concert, bookings flooded in. Maya spent the next year touring Europe and Asia, playing in concert halls she'd only dreamed about. She performed with major orchestras. Critics praised her emotional depth and technical mastery. But the dream she'd held since she was 8 years old, playing at Carnegie Hall in New York City, still hadn't come true. Until she got the call. Carnegie Hall wanted to book her for their Perspectives series, a season-long residency reserved for the world's most important artists. She would perform 7 concerts over the course of a year, each one featuring different repertoire. It was the kind of recognition that only a handful of pianists ever received. Maya's Carnegie Hall debut was scheduled for October. She spent 3 months preparing, choosing repertoire that told her story pieces by composers who'd overcome adversity music that spoke to struggle and triumph. The night of her debut, Maya stood backstage at Carnegie Hall wearing a custom-designed gown that her management had paid for. She thought about 8-year-old Maya, pressing her ear against the wall to hear piano music. She thought about the cardboard keyboard and the humiliation of high school. She thought about Mr. Peterson, who'd passed away 2 years earlier, but who'd believed in her when no one else did. She walked onto that stage to thunderous applause. For the next 90 minutes, Maya played with every ounce of skill, emotion, and experience she possessed. She played Beethoven, Chopin, Rachmaninoff, and ended with a powerful contemporary piece by an African-American composer that brought the audience to tears. When she finished, the standing ovation lasted 10 minutes. Critics called it one of the most important debuts in recent Carnegie Hall history. The New York Times review began. A star is born. After that night, everything accelerated. Maya was invited to record her debut album with a major classical label. The album, which she titled Rising from Silence, as a nod to her cardboard keyboard days, was released the following spring. Rising from Silence became the best-selling classical album of the year. It resonated with people far beyond typical classical music audiences. Maya's story, Poor Girl Makes Good Through Talent and Hard Work, was the American dream personified. People who'd never listened to classical piano before bought her album. When Grammy nominations were announced, Rising from Silence was nominated for Best Classical Instrumental Solo Album. Maya was 27 years old, the youngest nominee in the category. The Grammy Awards ceremony was held at the Staples Center in Los Angeles. Maya attended in a stunning gold gown, her mother Patricia beside her in the audience. Patricia had never flown on a plane before that night. She held Maya's hand throughout the ceremony, tears in her eyes. When they announced the classical categories, they did it during the pre-show, before the televised ceremony. Maya sat in a room full of classical musicians, her heart pounding. When they called her name as the winner, she stood up in shock. The room applauded. Maya walked to the stage in a daze, accepted the Golden Gramophone trophy, and gave a short speech. "This award isn't just for me," she said, her voice shaking. "It's for every kid who practices on cardboard because they can't afford the real thing. It's for everyone who's been told they're not good enough, they're not worthy. Your dreams matter. Your talent matters. Don't let anyone make you believe otherwise." Later that night, photos of Maya holding her Grammy were all over social media. Articles appeared in major news outlets. From Cardboard Keyboard to Grammy Award, Maya Johnson's incredible journey. The girl who'd been called Piano Freak was now a Grammy winner. But even with all that success, all that recognition, Maya still carried the pain of her past. She still remembered Jessica's laugh, the humiliation of that cafeteria video, the feeling of being worthless. Which is why when that reunion invitation arrived a year later, Maya decided to go. It was time to close that chapter once and for all. Maya sat in her Manhattan apartment, the reunion invitation open on her laptop, the Grammy Award sitting on her piano, like a golden reminder of how far she'd come. She stared at both for a long time, thinking about what this reunion meant. Her therapist, Dr. Williams, had been encouraging this moment for years. Confronting your past isn't about revenge, she'd said during their last session. It's about reclaiming your narrative. Those people don't get to define who you are anymore. But if Maya was being honest with herself, there was a part of her that wanted revenge. Not the cruel kind that Jessica had specialized in, but the quiet, powerful kind that comes from success. She wanted to walk into that room and show every single person who'd dismissed her, mocked her, or looked right through her exactly who Maya Johnson had become. She called her manager, Robert. "I need you to arrange something for me," she said. "I have a high school reunion in Detroit on June 15th. I want to arrive in style." Robert was confused at first. "A high school reunion? Maya, you have a concert in Boston that week. We'd have to move it." "Move it," Maya said firmly. "This is important." Over the next 2 weeks, Maya prepared meticulously. She hired a styling team to create a custom evening gown. Not flashy or over the top, but elegant and undeniably expensive. She scheduled appointments with a hairstylist and makeup artist. She wanted to look successful, but more importantly, she wanted to look like herself. Like the Maya she'd become, not the Maya they remembered. The most important decision was what to bring with her. She looked at her Grammy Award sitting on the piano. It felt almost too obvious, too blatant to bring it. But then again, why not? It wasn't about bragging. It was about truth. This was what she'd accomplished. This was who she'd become. She carefully packed the Grammy in its case. Her mother called her the night before the reunion. "Baby, are you sure about this? Those people were so cruel to you." "I'm sure," Mama Maya said softly. "I need to do this. Not for them. For me." "Then you go show them," Patricia said, her voice fierce with pride. "You go show them what my daughter became." Meanwhile, in Detroit, Jessica Van Der Berg was putting the finishing touches on her plan. The cardboard piano sat in her car, wrapped in decorative paper. She'd written her speech and practiced it dozens of times, getting the timing of her pauses just right to maximize the laughter. She'd told everyone about the special presentation for Maya Johnson. Most people thought it sounded mean-spirited, but Jessica had a way of framing cruelty as humor, making people feel like they were being uptight if they objected. "Oh, come on. It's just a joke," she'd say. "Maya will laugh about it. She has to have a sense of humor about herself, right?" The reunion was at 6 p.m. At 4 p.m., Jessica and her friends arrived at the waterfront pavilion to set up. They positioned a small stage area where Jessica would make her presentation. They set up the microphone. Chelsea tested her phone camera to make sure she had the perfect angle to capture Maya's humiliated face. "This is going to get 1 million views," Chelsea said excitedly. "Viral content gold." Brittany was arranging cocktail tables when she paused. "Do you think anyone will actually defend Maya? Like tell us we're being mean?" Jessica waved her hand dismissively. "Who cares if they do? By the time anyone processes what's happening, we'll already have posted the video. Besides, most people from our class barely remember Maya. She was invisible back then. She's probably still invisible now." At 5 p.m., Jessica stood in front of the mirror in the venue's bathroom, checking her makeup. She was wearing a Chanel dress that cost more than most people made in a month. Her blonde hair was perfectly styled. She looked successful, beautiful, and powerful. She smiled at her reflection. Tonight's going to be perfect. At 5 p.m. in Manhattan, Maya was getting ready. Her styling team had arrived at 4 to begin hair and makeup. The process took 2 hours, transforming her into a vision of elegance and success. The gown they'd created for her was a deep emerald green that complemented her skin tone perfectly. It was elegant, sophisticated, and unmistakably expensive. Her hair was styled in soft curls that cascaded over one shoulder. Her makeup was flawless but natural, emphasizing her features without hiding them. When she looked at herself in the mirror, she barely recognized the woman looking back. She certainly didn't recognize the scared, humiliated girl from high school. That girl was gone. In her place stood Maya Johnson, Grammy Award winner, international concert pianist success story. At 5:30 p.m., a black limousine pulled up in front of her building. Robert had arranged everything: a professional driver, a security guard to accompany her, and even a photographer to document the evening. "If you're going to do this," Robert had said, "do it right." Maya descended from her apartment building, the Grammy Award case in her hand, and slid into the limousine. The drive to Detroit would take 10 hours. She'd arrive at the reunion at 4 a.m. if she drove through the night, which obviously wasn't the plan. Instead, the limousine was taking her to a private airfield where a chartered plane waited. She'd never chartered a plane before. It seemed excessive for a high school reunion. But Robert had insisted, "You're making a statement. Make it count." As the plane took off from Teterboro Airport, Maya looked out the window at Manhattan glittering below. She thought about the last 10 years, about everything she'd sacrificed and everything she'd gained. She thought about Mr. Peterson, about her mother, about the little girl with a cardboard piano who'd dared to dream. In Detroit, guests were starting to arrive at the waterfront pavilion. Jessica stood near the entrance, greeting people with hugs and air kisses, playing the role of gracious hostess. People mingled, catching up, showing photos of their kids and their jobs and their lives. Several people asked, "Is Maya Johnson coming? I heard she might be here." Jessica smiled sweetly each time. "Oh yes, Maya's coming. We have a very special surprise planned for her. You'll want to stick around for that." At 6:30 p.m., Maya's chartered plane landed at Detroit Metro Airport. The limousine was waiting on the tarmac. Maya transferred from plane to car seamlessly, the Grammy case never leaving her hands. As the limousine pulled away from the airport, heading toward the waterfront pavilion, Maya felt her heart start to race. This was it. After 10 years, she was going back. The driver glanced at her in the rearview mirror. Nervous Miss Maya looked down at the Grammy in her hands and smiled. Not anymore. By 7 p.m., the waterfront pavilion was filled with about 80 people from Lincoln High's class of 2015. The venue was beautiful floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the Detroit River, elegant lighting, and a jazz band playing softly in the corner. People had formed into familiar groups. The former athletes clustered near the bar, comparing dad bods and reminiscing about championship games. The academic overachievers discussed graduate degrees and career achievements. The drama club kids were already 3 drinks in and loudly singing songs from their senior year musical. Jessica held court in the center of the room, surrounded by her inner circle. She looked perfect as always, and she knew it. People gravitated to her naturally, just like they had in high school. Some things never changed. "Has anyone seen Maya yet?" someone asked. Jessica's smile was sharp. "Not yet, but don't worry, when she arrives, you'll definitely know." At a table near the window, a group of classmates were scrolling through Facebook trying to find Maya's profile. "There's like 5 Maya Johnsons on here," one guy said. "Which one is ours?" "The one with no profile picture and no posts," someone else joked. "That sounds about right." They laughed, not maliciously, just casually dismissive in the way people are when they barely remember someone from their past. But not everyone had forgotten Maya. There was a small group of people, the ones who'd been on the outskirts themselves in high school, who remembered her differently. They remembered the video of her playing piano in the cafeteria before the laughter started. They remembered that for just a moment before Jessica ruined it, Maya's playing had been beautiful. One woman named Sarah, who'd been a quiet band kid in high school, turned to her friend. "I always felt bad for Maya. She was actually really talented." "Yeah," her friend agreed. "I wonder what she's up to now." Did she pursue music? They would find out soon enough. At 7:30 p.m., Jessica decided it was time to set the stage for Maya's arrival. She clinked a fork against her champagne glass, drawing everyone's attention. "Hi everyone, thank you so much for coming tonight." She projected her voice like she was born to perform. "I just want to say how wonderful it is to see all your beautiful faces. 10 years. Can you believe it?" People applauded, politely smiling. Jessica continued. "Now, I know we're still waiting for a few people to arrive, but I wanted to mention that we have a very special moment planned for tonight. A tribute, if you will, to one of our classmates who really embodied the spirit of never giving up." She paused for dramatic effect, letting curiosity build. Many of you remember Maya Johnson, the girl who loved piano so much that she practiced on a cardboard keyboard because she couldn't afford a real one. Now, I know some people might think that was sad, but I always admired her creativity. A few people shifted uncomfortably. Jessica's tone was saccharine sweet, but something about it felt off. So my friends and I put together a little surprise for Maya. We're going to present her with her very own commemorative cardboard piano, as a reminder to never stop dreaming. Brittany and Chelsea wheeled out the large cardboard piano, and some people in the room laughed. Others looked uncomfortable, sensing the cruelty beneath the joke. Sarah, the band kid, leaned to her friend and whispered, "This is really mean. Are we really doing this?" But before anyone could object too loudly, something happened that changed everything. The room's attention was drawn to the window. Outside, a sleek black limousine was pulling up to the entrance. It was the kind of car that screamed money and importance. "Who's that?" someone asked. The limousine stopped directly in front of the entrance. The driver got out wearing a professional chauffeur's uniform. He walked around to the rear passenger door. Jessica frowned, confused. This wasn't part of her plan. The driver opened the door, and Maya Johnson stepped out. Time seemed to slow down as Maya emerged from the limousine. She was wearing an emerald green evening gown that caught the light from the venue's entrance, making her glow like she'd stepped out of a red carpet event. Her hair cascaded in perfect curls over one shoulder. Diamond earrings sparkled at her ears, borrowed from a jewelry sponsor for the evening, though no one here knew that. But what drew everyone's eye, what made the entire room fall silent, was what she carried in her right hand. A Grammy Award. The distinctive golden gramophone gleamed under the lights, unmistakable and impossible to fake. Maya stood there for a moment, letting people see her, letting the image sink in. Then she smiled. Not the scared, nervous smile of the girl they remembered, but a confident, radiant smile, and walked toward the entrance. Behind her, a security guard in a dark suit followed at a respectful distance. A moment later, a photographer stepped out of the limousine as well, camera in hand. Inside the venue, chaos erupted in whispers. Is that a Grammy? Oh my God. Is that Maya Johnson? Wait, our Maya Johnson. Phones came out immediately. People started frantically Googling. Within seconds, the truth spread through the room like wildfire. She's a concert pianist. She won a Grammy last year. She's performed at Carnegie Hall. She's famous. Jessica stood frozen by her cardboard piano display, her face draining of color. Brittany and Chelsea looked at each other in horror, suddenly understanding the magnitude of their mistake. Maya entered the venue, and it was like a movie star had walked into the room. People who'd barely spoken to her in high school suddenly rushed forward, wanting to greet her, wanting to be in her orbit. Maya. Oh my God. Maya Johnson. I can't believe it's you. Is that really a Grammy? Can I take a picture with it? I always knew you'd do something amazing with music. That last comment came from someone who'd laughed at the cafeteria video, but Maya didn't point that out. She just smiled graciously and nodded. The entire energy of the reunion had shifted in an instant. Suddenly, Maya Johnson, formerly invisible, formerly mocked, was the most important person in the room. People crowded around her asking questions, wanting to know everything about her career. The jazz band had stopped playing, the musicians themselves wanting to meet a Grammy-winning pianist. How long have you been performing professionally? Where do you live now? Do you tour internationally? Can you play something for us later? Maya handled it all with grace, answering questions politely, but trying to move deeper into the venue. She was looking for someone specific. She was looking for Jessica. Across the room, Jessica was experiencing something she'd never felt before: complete social irrelevance. For the first time in her life, she wasn't the center of attention. All eyes were on Maya. Brittany grabbed Jessica's arm. "We need to hide this thing," she hissed, gesturing at the cardboard piano. "Now." They tried to wheel it away, but it was too late. Several people had already noticed it and were putting the pieces together. "Wait, is that cardboard piano for Maya? Were you guys going to give her that?" "As a joke? That's really messed up." Chelsea was already deleting the video recording app from her phone, trying to erase evidence of their plan. Meanwhile, Maya made her way through the crowd, professionally gracious, but clearly on a mission. She reached the champagne table, accepted a glass, and then turned to face the room. She'd seen Jessica. Jessica had seen her. Their eyes met across the crowded space. For a moment, they just stared at each other. 10 years of history passed between them in that look. Then Maya started walking toward her. The crowd parted as Maya moved through the room. Conversations dropped to whispers. Everyone could feel the tension, could sense that something significant was about to happen. Maya reached Jessica, who was standing awkwardly next to the cardboard piano display. Up close, the contrast between them was striking. Jessica, who'd always been the pretty popular one, looked ordinary next to Maya's polished elegance. "Hello, Jessica," Maya said, her voice calm and measured. Jessica's mouth opened, but no words came out. She'd spent 10 years imagining herself as superior to Maya, and now that illusion was shattering in real time. Maya, I didn't know," Jessica stammered. Maya's eyes moved to the cardboard piano. She set down her champagne glass and moved closer to examine it. The room was absolutely silent, everyone watching. "Is this for me?" Maya asked, running her fingers along the cardboard keys. Jessica wanted to disappear. Brittany and Chelsea had backed away, trying to distance themselves from the disaster they'd created. "It was supposed to be a joke," someone whispered, though it wasn't clear who said it. Maya turned back to Jessica, and for a moment Jessica braced herself for the humiliation she deserved. For Maya to expose her cruelty in front of everyone, to make her feel the way she'd made Maya feel for years. But Maya didn't do that. Instead, Maya smiled. It was a real smile, tinged with something complex. Memory, pain, and ultimately compassion. "I did practice on keyboards like this," Maya said, her voice carrying across the silent room. "For years, actually. When you can't afford a real piano, you get creative." She looked back at the cardboard piano, touching it almost tenderly. "I used to draw them on paper and practice for hours, imagining what it would feel like to press real keys. I'd practice scales, arpeggios, entire concertos on paper and cardboard. People thought it was pathetic." She paused, letting that sink in. "But you know what? Those years of practicing on nothing taught me something valuable. They taught me that talent isn't about having the best resources or the most expensive instruments. It's about dedication. It's about wanting something so badly that you'll practice on cardboard just to keep the dream alive." People in the room were hanging on every word. Some were filming on their phones, capturing this moment. Maya turned back to Jessica. "So thank you for this reminder. Honestly, it's good to remember where I came from." Jessica's eyes were brimming with tears, not of sadness, but of shame. "Maya, I'm so sorry. I didn't know. You were going to humiliate me," Maya finished gently. "I know. It's okay. I forgive you." Those 3 words, "I forgive you," landed like a bomb in the quiet room. Jessica broke. She started crying, real tears streaming down her face, ruining her perfect makeup. "I was so cruel to you. In high school, I made your life hell. And even now, even 10 years later, I wanted to hurt you again. There's something wrong with me. I'm so sorry." The room watched in stunned silence as the popular girl broke down, and the girl she'd tormented stood there with dignity and grace, holding a Grammy Award in one hand, while the other rested on the cardboard piano that was meant to mock her. After a moment, Maya gently touched Jessica's shoulder. "Let's sit down," she said quietly. They moved to a nearby table, and the crowd gave them space. Though everyone was still watching, still listening. This was better than any planned entertainment. Maya set her Grammy on the table between them. In the soft light, the golden gramophone seemed to glow. "Do you want to know what really happened in these 10 years?" Maya asked. Her voice was soft, but clear enough that people nearby could hear, and they leaned in, wanting to know. Jessica nodded, wiping her eyes with a napkin. "The summer after graduation, I worked 2 jobs to save money for New York. I got into Juilliard on a full scholarship which covered tuition but not living expenses, so I kept working. I served coffee during the day and cleaned offices at night. I practiced piano 12 to 14 hours a day every single day for 4 years. People around the room were listening in complete silence now, many recording on their phones. In my second year, I won a competition at Carnegie Hall. That got me some attention, some opportunities. But classical music isn't like pop music. Success doesn't happen overnight. I spent years playing in small venues, building my reputation one concert at a time. Maya picked up the Grammy, turning it in her hands. 3 years ago, I competed in the International Chopin competition in Warsaw. It was the first time I'd ever been on an airplane, the first time I'd left the country. I came in second place out of thousands of pianists from around the world. Someone in the crowd whispered, "Oh my God." After that, things started happening faster. Concert bookings, recording contracts. Last year, I recorded my debut album. I called it Rising from Silence because of all those years practicing on cardboard, making silent music, dreaming of being heard. She set the Grammy back on the table. When they called my name at the Grammys, I thought about that cafeteria video, the one where I played piano and everyone laughed. I thought about how humiliated I felt, how I wanted to disappear. And I realized something: that pain, that humiliation, it became fuel. It pushed me to prove everyone wrong, including myself. Maya looked directly at Jessica now. "You hurt me, Jessica. You and your friends made high school a nightmare for me. There were nights I cried myself to sleep, days I didn't want to go to school, times I questioned whether I was worth anything at all." Jessica's tears flowed freely now. "I'm so sorry. I don't know why I was so cruel. I think I was insecure. My parents were never around. They just threw money at me and expected perfection. When I saw you, someone with nothing, working so hard for something you loved, I think I was jealous. You had passion. I had nothing real." Jessica's confession opened a floodgate. The room watched as the woman who'd once ruled the social hierarchy of their high school completely fell apart. "I've been miserable," Jessica continued, her voice cracking. "I married a guy my father approved of. We divorced 2 years later. I work for my father's company, doing a job I hate. I have no real friends, just people who want something from me. I look at Facebook and see everyone living these full lives, and I realized I have nothing. No purpose, no passion, nothing." She looked at the cardboard piano they'd made as a cruel joke. "When I saw your name on the reunion list, I thought, I don't know what I thought, that making fun of you again would make me feel better about my own failures. That's sick. That's really sick." Brittany and Chelsea had emerged from wherever they'd been hiding. They approached the table, both looking ashamed. "We're sorry too," Brittany said quietly. "We should have been better. We should have been decent human beings." Maya looked at all three of them. These women who'd tormented her, who'd made her teenage years a waking nightmare. She could destroy them right now if she wanted. One speech about their cruelty filmed on dozens of phones, posted to social media, and their reputations would be ruined. But what would that accomplish? Maya stood up, and the three women looked up at her, waiting for judgment. "I forgive you," Maya said simply. "All of you. Not because what you did was okay. It wasn't. Not because it didn't hurt. It did. But because holding on to that anger and pain doesn't serve me anymore. I spent years angry. I spent years carrying that hurt. And you know what? It was heavy. Forgiveness isn't for you. It's for me." She picked up her Grammy. "I won this award for an album about transformation and growth, about rising above circumstances and finding your voice. I can't record an album about that and then refuse to practice it in my own life. So yes, I forgive you. And I hope you forgive yourselves." The room erupted in applause. It started slowly, then built, until everyone was clapping. Some people were crying. The moment was so raw, so real, so different from the superficial catching up that usually defined high school reunions. Jessica stood up and hesitantly held out her hand. Maya looked at it for a moment, then pushed it aside and pulled Jessica into a hug. It was awkward at first. 10 years of pain doesn't dissolve in an instant. But it was real. It was healing. When they separated, Jessica asked, "Can you ever forgive me, really?" Maya thought about it honestly. "I'm working on it. Forgiveness is a process, not a light switch. But I'm choosing to let go of the anger. That's a start." She turned to address the room and everyone fell silent again. "I want to say something to everyone here. High school was hard for a lot of us. We were all trying to figure out who we were trying to fit in, trying to survive. Some of us hurt people in the process. If you were one of those people, and I see a few of you looking uncomfortable right now, use this as a moment to reflect. It's never too late to be better. It's never too late to apologize to someone you hurt." She paused, letting that sink in. "And if you were one of the people who got hurt, who got bullied or excluded, or made to feel less than, your story isn't over. My story didn't end in that cafeteria. Neither does yours. You get to write the next chapters. Make them good ones." After the emotional intensity of the last hour, the room needed a release. People were processing what they'd witnessed, many having quiet conversations about their own high school experiences, their own regrets and hurts. That's when someone noticed the grand piano in the corner of the venue. It had been there all along, part of the room's elegant decor, probably for the jazz band, that had long since packed up and left. "Maya," someone called out. "Would you play something for us?" The request rippled through the crowd. People started clapping, encouraging her. "Play for us. Please, we'd love to hear you. Show us what a Grammy winner sounds like." Maya looked at the piano, then at the crowd of faces looking at her, hopefully. These were her classmates. Some had been cruel, some had been indifferent, some had been kind. All of them were human, flawed, complicated. She smiled. "Okay, but not for show. Not to prove anything. Just because music should be shared." She walked to the piano, and the crowd parted, giving her space. She set her Grammy on top of the piano, a golden reminder of how far she'd come. Then she sat down at the bench, adjusted her dress, and placed her hands on the keys. "This is Chopin's Nocturne in E-flat, Major Opus 9, Number 2, she announced. "It's one of the first pieces I ever learned. I practiced it on cardboard for 3 years before I ever heard what it really sounded like on a real piano. Mr. Peterson, my high school music teacher, taught me this piece. He passed away a few years ago, but he'd be happy to know I'm playing it here tonight." She positioned her hands over the keys, took a breath, and began to play. The first notes of the nocturne floated through the room, and it was like the air itself changed. This wasn't music from a speaker or a recording. This was live, breathing, real music being created in the moment by someone who'd mastered their craft. Maya's fingers moved across the keys with the kind of fluid grace that only comes from years of practice. The melody was achingly beautiful, melancholy, and hopeful at the same time. Each note was perfectly placed, perfectly timed, the dynamics shifting from whisper soft to richly resonant. People who'd been talking fell silent. Those who'd been on their phones put them away. Even those who didn't particularly like classical music found themselves mesmerized. This was different from that day in the cafeteria 10 years ago. Back then, Maya had been playing on an out-of-tune piano in a noisy cafeteria, pouring her heart out while people mocked her. Now she was playing on a professional-quality grand piano in a room full of people who finally understood what they were hearing: genius. Some people in the audience started crying, not from sadness, but from the sheer beauty of the moment. Music has a way of bypassing the brain and speaking directly to the heart, and Maya's playing was doing exactly that. Sarah, the band kid who'd defended Maya earlier, was crying openly. "I knew she was talented," she whispered to her friend. "But this is incredible." Jessica stood near the back of the crowd, tears streaming down her face for the second time that night. But these weren't tears of shame. These were tears of awe. She was finally seeing Maya, really seeing her for the first time. Not as the poor girl to be mocked, but as an artist, a human being with extraordinary gifts that had been there all along, if only anyone had cared to look. The piece built to its emotional climax, Maya's fingers dancing across the keys with breathtaking precision and emotion. Then gradually it softened again, the melody returning to its gentle nocturnal quality. The final notes hung in the air like stars fading slowly into silence. For a moment after the last note faded, no one moved. No one breathed. The silence was complete, reverent. Then someone started clapping. Then another. Then everyone. The entire room rose to their feet in a standing ovation. The applause was thunderous, genuine, filled with emotion. People were cheering, whistling, some still crying. Maya stood up from the piano, looking slightly embarrassed by the intensity of the response. She wasn't used to performing for such a small, intimate audience. Concert halls full of thousands were somehow easier than playing for 80 people from her past. But as she looked out at the faces of her former classmates, really looked at them, she saw something she'd never seen in high school. Respect, admiration, recognition. Several people rushed forward to hug her. Others wanted to shake her hand. The former music and drama kids wanted to talk shop about performance and technique. The athletes who'd ignored her in high school now wanted to know her story, wanted to understand her journey. That was incredible, person after person told her. "I had no idea you were that talented." Maya wanted to say, "I was always this talented. You just never bothered to look." But she didn't. Because holding on to old resentments wasn't the point of tonight. Growth was. Healing was. Moving forward was. After another hour of conversation, photos, and genuine reconnection, Maya checked her phone. It was nearly midnight. Her flight back to New York was scheduled for early morning, and she had a rehearsal at Carnegie Hall the next afternoon. It was time to leave. She said her goodbyes, exchanging contact information with people who wanted to stay in touch. She hugged Sarah, the band kid, and thanked her for being kind, even back in high school. She spoke briefly with several teachers who'd made the reunion, including Mrs. Chen, the English teacher, who'd encouraged her writing in 10th grade. And finally, she approached Jessica one more time. "Thank you for tonight," Maya said, and she meant it. Jessica looked confused. "Thank me for what? For trying to humiliate you, for giving me closure," Maya replied. "I've been carrying around anger about high school for 10 years. Tonight I got to let it go. That's a gift, even if you didn't mean it to be." Jessica hugged her tightly. "I'm going to be better. I promise. I'm going to figure out who I actually want to be, not who my father expects me to be." "Good," Maya said warmly. "Do that." As Maya walked toward the exit, carrying her Grammy, and followed by her security guard, she passed the cardboard piano that had been meant as a weapon. She stopped looking at it one more time. Then she smiled, pulled out her phone, and took a selfie with it. She posted it to her Instagram, which had over 500,000 followers, with a simple caption where it started and where it's going. Never stop practicing, even if you're practicing on cardboard. Your dreams are worth it. Within hours, the post would have millions of views. Within days, it would be shared across social media with headlines like Grammy winner's inspiring high school reunion speech, and from cardboard piano to Carnegie Hall. But Maya didn't know that yet. She was just walking out to her limousine, ready to return to the life she'd built, the career she'd earned, the future she'd created for herself. As the limousine pulled away from the waterfront pavilion, Maya looked back one last time at the building full of people from her past. She felt lighter somehow, like she'd set down a heavy bag she'd been carrying for years. The past was the past. And Maya Johnson was driving toward the future. Maya's story spread far beyond that reunion in Detroit. The videos people posted of her speech and her impromptu performance went viral. News outlets picked up the story. Within a week, Maya was being interviewed on morning shows about bullying, perseverance, and forgiveness. But the real impact wasn't in the viral videos or the news stories. It was in the messages Maya received from thousands of people around the world. Young musicians who were struggling, who couldn't afford instruments or lessons, who were told they weren't good enough. Single mothers working multiple jobs and wondering if they were failing their kids. Adults who were still carrying pain from their own high school years and didn't know how to let it go. Maya's story gave them something precious hope. Because if a girl from poverty who practiced on cardboard could win a Grammy, what else was possible? If she could forgive the people who'd tormented her and walk away with grace, what might the rest of us be capable of? 3 months after the reunion, Maya received a letter in the mail. It was from Jessica. Inside was a simple card with a handwritten note. Maya, I enrolled in community college to study psychology. I want to work with teenagers who are struggling, who are bullying or being bullied. I want to help them before they cause the kind of damage I caused. Thank you for showing me it's never too late to change. Jessica. Maya smiled when she read it and added it to the growing collection of letters she'd received since the reunion. That night, she had a concert at Carnegie Hall. The performance was sold out, as all her concerts were now. She played for 2,000 people who'd paid hundreds of dollars for tickets, who'd dressed up and traveled from around the world to hear her play. But as she sat at that beautiful Steinway grand piano on the Carnegie Hall stage, she thought about that cardboard keyboard from her childhood. She thought about pressing silent keys and dreaming of this exact moment. She thought about Mr. Peterson, about her mother, about every person who'd believed in her when she couldn't afford to believe in herself. And she thought about Jessica and that reunion, about how confronting her past had finally freed her from it. Then Maya placed her hands on the keys and began to play, and for the next 90 minutes, there was only music. Beautiful, transcendent, hard-won music that had started with a little girl and a cardboard keyboard and a dream that refused to die. Because that's the thing about dreams. If you're willing to practice on cardboard, if you're willing to work when others rest, if you're willing to believe in yourself, even when no one else does, those dreams don't die. They grow. They transform. They become Grammy Awards and Carnegie Hall performances and reunion moments that change lives. Maya Johnson's story is a reminder that where you start doesn't determine where you finish. That the people who mock you today might applaud you tomorrow. That forgiveness is more powerful than revenge. And that sometimes the best response to cruelty is simply to become the best version of yourself. The girl they called Piano Freak became a Grammy winner. The cardboard keyboard became a Steinway Grand. The mocked became the celebrated. And every person who'd laughed at her in that cafeteria 10 years ago now knew her name. Not because she sought revenge, but because she sought excellence. That's how you win, not by destroying those who hurt you, but by building something so beautiful that they can't help but see it. And Maya Johnson. She's still building, still playing, still proving that dreams practiced on cardboard can become reality played on the world's greatest stages.